All right, welcome back to Served. It's like she's Siskel and she's Ebert. Dated reference for anyone under 30, but Mike understands, I'm sure. Shots fired. I don't even know the name of this documentary. I just call it the Roger Federer documentary. I know it's the last 12 days leading into Laver Cup, otherwise known as Laver Cup, and when he retired. And my memories of that going in before Social Sophie goes into it, one of the moments that caused me actual human tears was just Rafa flying in for a doubles match to play with Roger, to be a part of the goodbye, them literally sitting on a bench, the whole world watching. It's as if no one was there, just crying out of respect for each other and out of respect for kind of their outsized presence in each other's lives. That meant so much to me. I had to go on air on TC Live right after that, and I almost didn't make it through the show. Like it was very hard, and I think they're both gems of humans. As much as I kind of joke about Roger, him kicking my ass, lighthearted, we have a friendship that will live on forever. We still text, we check in. He has done many things outside of the lens of the camera. For me, charity events, different things here and there, just always an extremely thoughtful, present person who I imagine it would be very easy to get lost in the tornado of being Federer, right? I've seen it. I've had a first row seat to it. I can imagine what his reality is like. But Social Sophie watched it, and I'm curious because I know, like all of our history, Sophie doesn't. I think she's heard about our history, but wasn't there for it. Wasn't a tennis fan during it. Is probably too young to have given a shit about it in real time. But I'm curious, Social Sophie, what did you think of it? Not having kind of knowing, I guess, Federer's reputation, having seen him, not having been a real time fan of his when he was playing.
Well, they really set the scene when it opens with a shot of him like right in front of his trophies. And you're like, okay, he's probably really good at this thing that this documentary is about. It's just him standing in front of them. That's the opening shot after the shot of him like destroying you at Wimbledon. Like they kind of open it with.
Oh, they open with that? Is that true? Oh, yeah. Great. I didn't even know I made an appearance. Great.
With those two things, you're kind of like, maybe he's good at this thing. So you get that right away. And like you said, it's a lot less about his career and more about his retirement. Like they're counting down those final 12 days until the Laver Cup. And it kind of just takes you through this like agony that he's going through of like, I really don't technically have to retire. It's a choice, but I know it's the best thing. I really don't want to do it, but it's like what's best for me. And you really see him kind of like bear the weight of he knows his role in tennis as this sort of like, I don't even know what the word is. Like he's the biggest guy. He knows it, but he also carries it really humbly, but he's very aware. And so he knows I need to make this statement in a way that respects my fans, respects the sport, respects all the people that I played. And he does that really, really well. And like his announcement that he makes and then every move that he makes until the Laver Cup and then beyond. And so watching anyone love something that much, like it could have been about river dancing for all I care. Like watching someone love anything that much is so interesting. And
I feel that feels like a reach. I'm just saying, maybe a little reach. Like,
and maybe it is
big
why river dancing?
But if it was like the
guys
best
here, but
guy in river dancing, I'm gonna watch. Like if it was someone who
Michael
loved
Flatley.
it that much,
that's the shit that
true.
I know.
That's
it's
the doc, by the way.
100% true. The lead river dance guy, the Federer of river dancing, the Novak of river dancing is Michael Flatley.
How do you know that?
I don't know. It goes in and it doesn't go out.
I'm so glad I said that.
Insane.
That's
Michael
crazy.
Flatley.
I'm
Look
so
it up.
glad
Confirmed.
I said that.
It's Michael
no,
Flatley.
I don't have to because
immediate
right.
believe you.
Anyway, sorry.
But no, if the guy's that good at it and they love it that much, like it was like addicting to watch. I watched it twice. You guys give like the best homework. I watched it Friday night and then I watched it last night again. And then it takes you through. What I thought was really interesting was that his kids were also touring with him through maybe like the last half of his career, I guess. which just all I really know about tennis is you, and that wasn't the case with you. And so it was interesting to see like his kids really go through the process as well. They were bawling, crying, blubbering at the Labor Cup, and it's because they were so much a part of it. And I thought that was really, really nice to see. And he honored his wife so well, just kind of saying, you know, she really could have stopped me and probably wanted to stop me years and years ago, but she didn't, because I love this thing and we both love this thing, and it's been the center of our whole lives. And then obviously there's the Rafa angle where they're just, again, blubbering the entire time. I really wanted them to show the shot where they're like holding hands and crying, but they never did. That's like my one qualm with the whole thing, is that I never got the shot of them holding hands and crying. But beyond Rafa, like he also does the same thing with Novak and Andy Murray and even the players that are coming in behind them all. Like he really pays so much respect. A lot of the times it like wasn't about him. The documentary, that was about him, which is probably just a testament to who he is.
Yeah, I read a quote from the documentary, and it's probably something that we all are guilty of in that generation. He said something along the lines of, "I didn't give Novak the respect he deserved when he was younger." I don't think I did either. You know, when he came in, he was the guy breaking up the Beatles, right? Like he was this new guy who didn't care that these guys were greats. He wanted to take their lunch. Like he was there to steal titles from them. And I like that Roger said it out loud. You know, I made the same mistake. You know, it's just, you know, someone comes in. I probably early in my career presented badly to some people too. Like I just did. Like I probably pissed some people off. I probably got in the faces of veterans of tour during matches and did things that I wouldn't have done or didn't do 6 years later. I like that he showed the humility in even a documentary about him. These are all the things that I got right. They're very obvious, but also we're all flawed. This is what I got wrong. And I like that he said it out loud.
Yeah, he pretty much said exactly that. And then they show him having kind of this moment with Novak at the end where you don't know what he told him, but Novak kind of breaks down crying. And it's really sweet. He you know, kind of whispers in Andy Murray's ear, whispers in Rafa's ear, whispers in Novak's ear, and then he sort of breaks down. And I think he probably said maybe exactly that like he kind of proved him wrong in the end.
Yeah.
And
I think
sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. I'm thinking out loud here. And I think and I know I was bitter Betty earlier in this episode, just with there's, you know, certain sects of sects, SECTS, not SEX. There are certain sects of fandom where the word fanatic exists for a reason. And I hate it. My number one thing that I hate online about tennis is that because you like someone better, you feel the need to drag down others when the players don't view it that way. Obviously, there are peaks and valleys. The intensity involved. I've had run-ins with people I've had run-ins on the court with Marty Fish, who's like a brother to me. Like, you need to understand as fans that there's a silo of people on earth who fully understand what you do, what you're going through, how you go about it, and how hard it is to be elite at a worldwide global sport. So you cannot like someone's entourage. You cannot like people in the orbit of these insane rivalries. Respect wins. It always wins. You can disagree with someone. You can yell at someone. You can say things that you mean in the moment that you get over later. The fact that the moment you're describing of Roger saying something to Novak and Novak having the respect for Roger, and they've had bumpy moments. They're well documented. If those two can push everything aside and say, you were great, you're a reason why I was great, why the fuck can't fans do it too? If you want to support your guy, support the things that your guy respects. Support the people that he respects. You don't have to like them. Respect needs to be a baseline. You cannot say, I like this person, so this person's a piece of shit loser. Like, that's just not true. It's not true. It's not true. I know these people. It's not true. Save the shit. It's not me against you. It's us, and we are all better for it. Go ahead, Sophie. How does this end? How do his kids go through it? What are his takeaways post Laver Cup? I'm sure they had like an exit interview. And then I'll kind of just give a couple of my thoughts.
They say in the beginning, or he says when he's about to make this announcement, that he wants to make it really clear that he's not saying, I'm retiring and I have no idea what's next. I'm retiring and maybe you'll see me again, maybe you won't. He wants to make it really clear that he wants his role in tennis, whatever that means, to continue on, and he wants to stay so involved. And so they do leave it pretty unknown, to be fair, other than what I just said, that like he wants to stay in the sport in whatever capacity he possibly can. So, but I mean, they did leave it kind of open-ended.
Yeah, I mean, he's part of the ownership group. He created Laver Cup with his agency.
That was really interesting.
There. Yeah, so he's there forever. And props to with Tony Godsick, who's also a friend of mine, who's Roger's agent, lifelong agent. They created a really special entity, and like the fact that this documentary, that's almost the perfect venue for this documentary to follow, because they started Laver Cup literally, and this isn't their opinion, this isn't their thesis, this is my opinion of what I've seen from the event. It feels like they started with what will be the best possible TV product that doesn't need to chew up 3 weeks of the season. 3 days, all the superstars played around the globe, inside access, listening to Rafa coach Novak on a switchover. Like, it doesn't get better than that, and vice versa. It just doesn't get better than that. The game will forever need Roger. They just will. He's the biggest crossover star that I've witnessed in tennis. He's like, it's impossible for your Q rating to be as gigantic as his was, and also not find anyone who dislikes him. You can find someone who dislikes everybody. And a lot of that's based on team sports. I like the Yankees, therefore I hate any great Red Sox. I like this, so I hate that. Fine. At a certain moment in time, like, my fans didn't hate Roger, and all he did was ruin my life for 10 years, like, on court. Like, it's just, I had this weird, when he was made that announcement, I remember being on Tennis Channel, and the one thing that I said, and I still mean it to this day, is I think the biggest compliment you can give someone after you've been a father is, I hope my kids grow up and act like this person. Not famous, not as successful, just treat people with the level of respect that he does. And I saw it. I mean, a couple of examples, like I watched him one year at Wimbledon before one of our finals. And I'm like a nervous wreck, and he's like, playing fucking games on his phone, like couldn't be calmer, which was annoying in its own way. But, you have, a couple of players who aren't as good. Maybe they're like in a mixed doubles final, or they're not Federer at Wimbledon. Like, they can go to Starbucks, right? They can go to Starbucks in Wimbledon Village and probably be left alone. Regrip their rackets in the training room, which everyone shares the same training room when you're stretching and doing all that. Just a bunch of tables lined up. One entrance, one exit. Regripping rackets, and then they just drop their trash on the floor and walk out. And I watch him having a conversation with someone, see that, and just casually go over and pick up, 3 old grips and a bunch of plastic and just throw them away while maintaining his conversation. Not saying like, I would have done it, but I would have been like, these fucking pricks. Like, I would have had some commentary about it, which was bitter. Casually did it.
He just did it.
Put it away. I'm Roger Federer. I've won this tournament 7 times already, 6 times already, whatever it is. And he consistently did stuff like that. He knew the name of the person who was looking after the tournament in the locker room each week, right? He just carried himself with a certain grace and a certain, I always get asked, are you jealous? I'm generally not really a jealous person. Like, I'm happy for people's successes. I wish I would have done things, but I don't look back and say, I wish I would have won 10 Grand Slams, and maybe that's why I didn't. But I look back, I'm like, I would have loved one more, right? People say, are you jealous of Roger? No. The only thing I'm jealous of in the history of our relationship, and all the titles and the lopsidedness of our general being was his ease of operation and how he could do these things and be in a good mood. And there's no chance he was in a good mood every day, but he faked it better than any person I've seen, him and Rafa, frankly. But Roger had to carry more of the burden. He could give press conferences in like 18 languages, right? He was the first one. He was the greatest before the other two came and became the greatest and then the greatest, right? And so I think he had a lot of that. And he was the guy that was immediately the statesman after Pete and Andre. Like he had to carry that burden, and he had other personalities, and then the youngsters, and then Rafa comes along and, I play a lane of this brash American, but I'm nowhere near, no one's near him. No one, even for a moment in time, is near him. And I'll tell you this.
Sorry.
Go ahead, please. No, I can tell anecdotal stories all day.
There's just a funny moment in the locker room where it's like Team Europe at the Laver Cup, and it's Roger, Rafa, Berrettini, I think Tsitsipas, and they're all just kind of like chatting in the locker room, and they get on the subject of that Rafa Sonego match where he calls him to the net about his kind of delayed grunting. Do you remember that? Surely. And Berrettini is saying, oh, no, he doesn't do it on purpose. He doesn't do it on purpose. Trust me, like I've played with him since I was a kid. I know him really well. He doesn't do it on purpose. And he's sort of like arguing back and forth with Rafa. And Rafa's like, no, for me, he did it on purpose. Like I promise for me. And it was just a funny little glimpse into the locker room. Like they're kind of going back and forth at it, but still being super respectful. It was just like a nice little glimpse into that.
And that those are the conversations that go round and round, where if there was a camera, people would, they'd create a beef between the two differing opinions. Like, it's just so stupid. Like, I didn't do it on purpose. Maybe he does a little on purpose.
Yeah.
It's a little on purpose. Maybe it's a little on purpose. We'll do this. And I could tell, nice gesture, Roger stories, for an entire episode. I can't wait to watch it. I wanted to, let you watch it and kind of just speak from my own personal experience. I'll tell you, I got inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2017. And with our good friend Kim Clijsters, amongst others. And I'll give you one guess. When the first text message the day that I got inducted was waiting for me when I woke up, and it was from
Roger.
It was 3 paragraphs. Wasn't a have a fun day. It was 3 paragraphs. Our history. I appreciate your friendship. This is well deserved. Yada, yada, yada. First one out of the shooter. And like, he shouldn't know the day that someone's getting inducted. Like he knows that in the morning, it's not an accident. You start early, enjoy the day. Like it was just it. And there's a lot of examples of that. So I'll forever, I can't even be a little bit bitter about Roger. I just can't. He's proven to me too many times, the person that he is. I'm happy that a lot of other people, including new fans like Social Sophie, are getting a look behind the curtain at him and in the way that he exists. Anyways, I can't wait to watch it now. Social Sophie, do you have any closing thoughts about it? What's your like biggest takeaway from this doc, or if you have a couple, shoot your shot.
I mean, first of all, I don't know if this was their intention, but it really made me want a docu-series on his career. Like it made you want more of him. And so hopefully maybe they'll do something like that in the future. Takeaway is, I mean, he talks a lot about being a ball kid in Basel and it's inspiring, and you go like, I mean, I guess you really can do anything if you're extremely good at the thing that you love. And also work extremely hard like he did. And it sort of leaves you with that sort of inspirational taste in your mouth of like, wow, he really did just love this thing so much, work extremely hard. And now he's the face of tennis. So
yeah.
How many stars? How many little Andy Roddick faces do you give it out of 5?
There's no reason not to give it 5. Like there's nothing bad about it. Like they do that. They call.
Well, maybe the only reason is that you're going to get fired. No, joking, obviously.
5.1 Andy faces.
5.1.
Yeah, just like an earlobe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. We'll put that on the screen. The best moment truly is when they're about to make the announcement, and his agent first calls Anna Wintour to warn her that the announcement is going to go out. And I just loved that.
she's rightfully so a massive Roger fan. I got to see that whole vortex too. Like Roger hosted Met Gala last year, and again a gracious thing invited Brooklyn and I, which like obviously we weren't, Brooke's been before, but I've obviously never been invited. And we sat, like, he's hosting and we literally sat at the next table, but like our chairs backed up to each other. So inevitably we end up leaning back and talking about, God knows what. But it's just thoughtful. And so I've always certainly appreciated those gestures. And I can't wait to watch it. I love that there were those moments between our greats. Including so Andy Murray, by the way.
Yeah.
With Novak.
We didn't even talk about him. There's so much great stuff.
He's phenomenal. Well. I mean, it's just respect wins. There are moments we don't like each other. There are moments where we disagree. We play for some pretty big things. Respect wins. At the end of the day, you look backwards, respect wins. I'm glad they caught those moments because maybe people will believe us when we say things like respect wins, and we make mistakes. We judge things the wrong way. We also extend grace to each other because we realize we need each other, and the most important parts of our work lives involve those people, and that should always remain special. I was going to do a whole thing about sleepers on the men's side for Wimbledon. How I think the women's draw is open and there's 20 names that could potentially win. Where does Iga Swiatek stack up? What we will do, producer Mike, I think if you'll approve this, is I think we start with that for a quick conversation before we do our live draw show, which will be out on Saturday on T2. So I'm going to spend, you've been so nice, and I think it feels wedged in because we've kind of gotten to this Wimbledon into Roger thing, and there's a certain tone to it. To get back to balls and strikes feels a little weird. So I'm not going to do it. But with your permission, I think we start before I actually look at the draw. I think I'm going to tell you, these are the names I'm looking for. I'm really interested where they're going to fall. And then we let it rip, Tater Chip. What do you think, producer Mike?
I think it sounds like a great idea. Yeah,
cool.
And so the T2 show will be 52 minutes, but then the full extended draw special, because we will go longer than 52 minutes.
Yeah.
That'll be on YouTube and where you get your podcast.
Yeah, so just for those of you that didn't catch our Roland Garros preview show, we do it a little bit differently. Most people digest the draw, look at it, have a day with it. You're getting our first raw reaction. Look, so Wertheim will look at it. I'll look at it. Then we start filling in our winners, and all of a sudden we're at the quarters, and it's like, oh, okay, well, all right, so these are my 8 quarter, and then we walk it through. So the first time that I'm looking at the draw, you will have the ability to listen, and then we will fill them out to the best of our knowledge. I'll do a quick little preview of these are the names. I want to know where Berrettini is going to land in the draw. I want to know, X, Y, and Z. Siniakova is going to end up in the draw. Katie Bolter is going to end up in the draw. Who's going to play? So we'll go through all that stuff. We'll spend 5 or 10 minutes on it, and then we are going to get into the live draw show. I will be doing it remotely. I will be traveling with our family, so the background won't quite look the same, but the content will be just as average, I assure you. So thank you so much, Social Sophie. Great job. Thank you for watching. Appreciate you breaking it down for us. Sounds like it's a rave review. Everyone should go watch the Roger doc, and we will catch you next time on Serve. Thanks for listening.